Welcome to this behind the scenes video of how I've attempted to set up a remote training studio in my study at home. My day-to-day business is training people to shoot and edit films with their smartphones, and that training is normally done face-to-face in the room. Now, of course, in the COVID-19 world that we're all in now, we've all had to change the way our businesses work. And so I've got a bit of a setup here, which I thought I'd share with you, and hopefully it will be of use to anybody who is in a similar boat to me, who's trying to make things work online. So the first thing I'd say is the background. So I'm using the Zoom video conferencing software. I'm recording this current film into it so you can see what the output would look like. Now, the background, I've got a green screen here, so I'm able to key in the different colored backdrops. I know most people have played with these virtual backdrops. I mean, they come with the Golden Gate and the space one and all that stuff. But you can create very simply little kind of background graphics on your phone, and you can put in different colors. You see, I've got my kind of brand name up there as well, but I can put in green. I can do red, green, whatever you want, whatever works with your kind of corporate colors. I'm going to go with a slightly a light grey. Should I go with grey? It feels like British grey. And so that's the first thing, which gives it quite a neat backdrop. Now I'll show you what I've got. The green screen's right behind me. So if I pull this up, you can see what that does. It suddenly reveals what's happening in behind here. Now, you could argue that the backdrop isn't too bad. I've got a couple of cartoons here done by my friend Andy Bush. I've got a family photo. So, nothing too scandalous, but can be distracting for a training setup. I've also got a couple of lights you can see bouncing this way, and another light just on the side here, which is going to be lighting the backdrop. I know that the professional camera operators will be cursing me, as this is not how you light a green screen properly. It needs to be much more uniform. But when you're using Zoom, this is kind of enough to get it to work. So if I pull that down again, you can see what we get. There we go. So the backdrop's back. And if I click on, just looking at the preferences now on Zoom, I click off, I have a green screen. Actually, let's go to none first of all. None. You can see that's the green backdrop. The light there casting a bit of a light on the back. I've got the lights lighting me on the front. That's the basics of it, is that you get enough light on you, a bit of light to flatten out the background as well. And then let's go back and just choose one of our backdrops. There we go. So the idea is that you're then looking at me and listening to me, and you're not distracted by what's going on behind. So that's the first setup for me. That's the first setup, if you like. The next one is that we can use Zoom to access remote cameras, and that's the part of the training I do, show people how to use their cameras. So let me just go into the screen sharing, and I will show you. This is an iPhone I've got set up on a remote cable in a little filming area. So here we go. So the camera has now come up, and if I move, so I'm sort of looking at you into one camera, going to move this other area over here. I'll show you the mic I'm using in a minute, but it does bring the sound with me. I can tap on the screen, show the operations of the camera, how to sort of lock the focus, bring that up and down, and then start and stop. So basic operations of the camera, which for some people is exactly where they need to start. I also make the training far more sophisticated by playing in different clips and demonstrating things that I would have demonstrated in the classroom, but I've done pre-recorded bits and pieces to drop in and make it a bit more interesting. But just a quick demonstration of something else we can do here. We can do we can do on-device editing. So I'm going to pick up this iPad, which I've got here. I'm going to take the cable again from that phone and just plug it into this iPad. I'm finding the cable connections are a little bit more robust than the connections via AirPlay, which you can also do. Because the joy of this is that, I think you can see on the screen now, is that we can demonstrate software like this. Is called LumaFusion. It's a great bit of software. This is a film I made previously, another behind-the-scenes film you may have seen. And as you can see, when I'm touching on the screen, if you can see there's blue dots coming up, those blue dots are where my fingers are touching the screen, which is great with this piece of editing software, so it can help with the instruction as needed. And I found it has worked pretty well up until now. So that's the sort of how I play the devices in. Let me also put a camera now onto the AirPlay setup. So it won't be cabled, but it means I can show you around the room and you can kind of see what's going on here. So again, if I just drop into the stop screen sharing and then start screen sharing again, and we'll go into AirPlay. And this will bring up options on this phone I've got here. And so I'm going to go into my screen sharing options and choose the Zoom into the MacBook Pro, which I'm using. And there you can see I've got my phone on the screen. I go into the camera option and we'll go, and there we go, into our wide shots. So what I'll do, I'll go right over to this side first of all, and hopefully you can kind of get a sense of the room. Just gonna move. So as you can see, it's pretty chaotic in here. I've got some shelves and some wires and some lights and stuff. I'll talk you through it to help break it down. So first of all, this is what I've been looking at. This is the sort of remote webcam. I've got cable into my computer. And then off to the side here, that area I told you about where I was going to do the demonstration of the camera. I've got my Rubik's Cube set up there. There's my camera. And this was cabled in to the computer up there. The other thing just to note here, I've got, aside from a really stack of very old phones, I've got this thing. This is an Orbi, I think it's a mesh wireless network. I've only just got it, but it means I've now got the speed of internet that I used to have downstairs by our modem upstairs here. So I've got around about 130 megabytes to 200 megabytes per second, depending on the time of day. The other important things to make your shot look good, obviously lighting. So I've got a light on this side. I've then got, there's my webcam again. I've got my computer in the middle, and then I've got another light on the other side. Now the idea here is that I can have the computer just behind the camera so that I'm not looking down all the time or looking away. I can kind of look at you as much as possible and then look at the screen when I need to. Just another couple of things to point out, audio-wise, sound-wise. You see on here, I've got, this is my Rode radio mic set up. It's just cabled into the computer. And on the other end, I've got it attached to me. So if I come to the selfie camera, get my hand out of the way. Can you see on here, I've got that radio mic cable, and then if I pick up the other end for you, I've got, there's the other end. So a really simple setup, but I've also, because I've been doing this sort of thing a while, I've got a backup system here as well. I've got a broadcast microphone into a device there, which will take a USB cable in. In truth, there are many more straightforward USB cable microphone options, but because this could work, it saves me 100 quid buying a new microphone. And then if I just cycle around over here, you can see the other side of the room, and that's where the green screen is, and this light is meant to be doing something around about there. Obviously that's screwed to the wall up there, so it's a fairly large commitment, but this room is just where I work and where I do broadcasting from, and so you know, it works for me. The low-tech thing I've got here, or the most low-tech thing, is this chair box keyboard setup, because I want to be looking at you guys, so I want to be looking into the camera and just looking at my computer behind. I need something at arm level, and this combination of boxes and chairs just about got me there. I've got the keyboard, the mouse, and a trackpad, so I can control everything. So let me just jump out of that final screen share there before it causes too much seasickness. There we go, and then there's me back on this shot here. So look, that's kind of it really. I thought it'd be useful just to give you a little show and tell, show you how I've made this work up until now. Hopefully it means that I can carry on my training business as the coronavirus continues. If you've got any questions about the setup, then please do get in touch. Really happy to share in this new world of everybody trying out stuff for the first time. And of course, if you need or would like any training, then also do let me know, and I will be happy to help you out. Thanks.